this is going to be a different playlist. We're going to be, I know you guys can't read that, Muscle and a Shovel. It's a book that one of my friends at church gave me, so this is going to be more of a religious study. It's just going to be basically me reading the book. So, anybody who wants to read it and kind of understand, you know, our, you know, religion or whatnot, or however you want to state it. We're going to be studying this together as a family. And I just figured I might as well go ahead and give you an invitation to listen in.
And plus bring your drinks and some snacks or some kids.
Yes, and it is Muscle and a Shovel by Michael J. Schenck. And it says, a raw, gritty, true story about finding the truth in a world drowning in religious confusion. It says, the Matrix is a system, Neo. That system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, and what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so injured, so hopelessly dependent on the system, they will fight to protect it. And this is from Morpheus from the movie The Matrix, just kind of giving you a...
Matrix?
But you haven't seen that movie yet, but it's kind of...
I have.
I don't think so.
Yes, you have. I have.
Okay, but that's just kind of getting you in a thought process. Another saying, it is easier to believe a lie one has heard 1,000 times than to believe a fact one has never heard before. The author is unknown on that one. And then it goes down to special thanks, and it says, this is the introduction, which kind of goes on to just tells you that this might be a hard book for some people to read. And chapter 1, March 15th, 1988 at 12:45 a.m. in the morning.
Like this video.
What are three white faces doing in this part of Nashville at this time of night? This is the way native Nashvillians pronounce the city's name. The Metro Nashville officer stood at my driver's side window, shining the beam from a long Magnum flashlight in my face. There we were, my wife, my best friend Larry in the back seat, and me. I had pulled our black Pontiac Grand Am to the side of the road at the corner of Herman Street and 16th. We were only a few hundred yards from Fisk University campus. Larry had been trying to get us to our location, but we were lost. I was searching for the words as I squinted to see the cop through his light. He was the biggest black man I had ever seen. About 7 feet tall. He could have been a twin to the guy from the movie The Green Mile. I bet he played pro ball. His polished bald head and fire hydrant-sized arms reminded me of the Mr. Clean Man. We had been profiled. Profiled? Yes. Any good cop worth their salt would have done the same. We were out of place in this neighborhood, and the fact that we were driving around so slowly made it appear that we might have been looking to buy drugs. I saw the red and blue lights in my rearview mirror just as we were heading up 16th Avenue North, right across the railroad tracks and a few yards beyond Watkins Park. Nashvillians call this area of town the West Loop. It was an urban neighborhood comprised mostly of African American residents. The West Loop was also home to Fisk University, Tennessee State University, and the beloved Meharry Medical College. Unfortunately, an element of the homeless had disgorged into the West Loop neighborhoods, along with the usual accompaniment of drugs. Therefore, three white faces meandering slowly through this part of town at 12:45 a.m. was enough to motivate any alert cop to do a traffic check. "You'll never believe me," I told the officer. Try me," he responded in a deep bass voice that conveyed the unspoken message. "Let's hear what you've got, little man. I've heard it all before." My heart said, "Be honest. Tell him. You've got nothing to lose. Truth has brought you this far, hasn't it? I might as well give it a shot." We're on our way to get baptized.
It's white, Mommy.
Yes, it's white.
I like it.
We're on our way to get baptized. The giant's eyes widened like someone had mashed his big... We're on our way to get baptized. The giant's eyes widened like someone had mashed his big toe with a drywall hammer. "Tonight? Where?" he asked with a combination of suspicion and guarded excitement. I told him the name of the church building while shamefully admitting that we were lost. Guys just don't admit that they're lost. What the cop said next not only blew my mind, hold on a second. What the cop said next not only blew my mind, it cemented the possibility of something I had long wondered about. Providence, not Rhode Island, biggest city in Narragansett Bay Estuary, but the province of God. Providence in this context is defined as the foreseeing care and guidance of God, or a manifestation of divine care. I was never really sold on the concept of divine providence until I heard the giant cop's response. It was then, upon hearing his words, that the principle was solidified in my mind. The officer's entire demeanor changed. He smiled and said, "I'm a member of that church. I actually go to that congregation. God must have wanted me to pull you over because this part of town is not safe this time of night. I'm going to get back into my cruiser, so just follow me and I will take you to the building." We were speechless. I turned to look at my wife and then to Larry in the back seat. None of us knew what to think or to say, but we were beginning to realize that God's fingerprints were on the events that were unfolding that night. I watched the police officer in my driver's side mirror as he literally ran back to his squad car. He ripped out around us, leaving the red and blue lights on. Nobody back in El Dorado, Illinois would have ever believed this. We followed the police car with his lights flashing, feeling as though we were in some kind of secret parade, following John Kofi's twin brother. We drove past Rio Grande Avenue, then Ireland Street, past Fisk on our left, then a right on Jackson Street. We continued down a few more blocks and then followed him as he pulled into the church building's parking lot. The time was 12:52 a.m. As we turned into the church parking lot, Larry said, "Would you look at that?" My wife, Jonita, whispered softly, "Who are they?" None of us expected to see the elders and the deacons standing out there in front of the building. They were all waiting for us to arrive. There they stood, shoulder to shoulder on that cold March night, in suits and ties. Those godly men came to the building for the great event. They left the warmth and the comfort of their own home without hesitation, even wearing their suits to demonstrate the dignity and the importance of the occasion. We knew that someone would be there. I had anticipated 2 or 3 people, but not a crowd this size. The officer stepped from his car and greeted the men. It was evident that they all knew one another well. After a lot of smiles and hugs and handshakes, the huge cop explained what had happened in the minutes prior to our arrival, pulling us over, thinking we were buying drugs, and then giving us an escort to the church building because of his concern about our safety. The giant cop said his goodbyes, killed the emergency lights, and drove off into the dark of the West Loop night. The men of the church greeted us as long-lost children. They met us like family members returning after a long trip. Each man made a formal introduction of himself and then expressed his personal excitement over our decision to follow the Lord Jesus Christ. They brought us into the building and showed us our respective changing rooms. As we started to change into the baptismal garments, we could hear them singing out in the auditorium. They sang just like they did in the first century, no instruments. They just used their voices exactly as Ephesians 5:19 and Colossians 3:16 describe. We had never heard anything like it before. It was loud, primitive, uninhibited, and even off-key at times. But it was also beautiful and soul-stirring. While changing in the back room, I listened to the men singing and searched for a word to describe their singing without instruments. My mind chased after the right word, but I could not land on it. Stick your tongue out, Mike, the thought went through my mind. The word is on the tip of your tongue. We changed into our baptismal garments, and the men continued to sing and pray. The songs were rich in melody and meaning. Their prayers between songs were beyond description. They sang with such fervor that at one point I thought dozens more had entered the building while we were back in our changing rooms. Don't they know what time it is? Don't they know that they'll wake up the entire neighborhood? My spiritually immature mind was not grasping the magnitude of the transformation that was about to take place that night. It was 1:15 a.m. Jonetta and I stepped to the top of the baptistry. We were barefoot, our hands were locked together, and tears were streaming down our faces. The building resonated with songs and hymns being sung by a group of men who had given their lives to the Master. Jonetta and I stood at the top of the steps. We looked at each other about to take that step. We knew only one thing for sure, our lives would never be the same. She kissed my cheek, and the word that I had been searching for rushed to the forefront of my mind. It was one word that so accurately described the men singing: pure. How in the world did a young, white, small town, materialistic, ambiguous, partying, not too religious, but member of a big denomination married couple get to the top of these steps? You are about to find out. However, let me give you an honest and fair warning. This is a crazy, raw, crude, true story that will set you on the edge and incite your emotions. Just know that in my humble opinion, your willingness and courage to read this story isn't coincidence. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purposes. Romans 8:28. And that's the end of chapter 1. What'd you think of that, Austin? It was good? Come over so they can see you. What do you think about the police officer stopping them?
For me, I would have been scared. But I don't know about their minds.
And they sounded kind of nervous because he thought about lying to the police officer, didn't he?
Yep.
Because he didn't think the police officer would believe him, right?
Yep.
What happened?
His heart told him to tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. And what happened when he told the truth?
The police officer took him to the church.
Mm-hmm. That's right. He went to the same church, didn't he?
Yep.
And they were lost, and so the police officer helped him. Do you think the police officer God used the police officer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes God works in that way, huh? He can put people in our lives for, to help us through things and to do things, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So, you got any more thoughts, Austin?
3.
Okay.
Actually 2.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know.
Come over here so they can see you. What's your thoughts?
One is like and subscribe.
Who said like and subscribe?
Or if you're new here, go back to our first video.
Well, this
And-
isn't keto. This is just going to be about the book. This is going to be our first video on another playlist.
Yeah, and then
But we do have, just for information, we do have different videos. Some of it being funny, different just family videos.
activity videos like we were jumping on the trampoline.
And we have a diet playlist too, because we are doing keto. And so that's what he was talking about. If you want to check out our other videos or whatnot.
Yeah, and last time we went to a flea market and I got this. It's for Halloween. I got another one, which is like a statue, and I have a bracelet that has an eagle with skull legs. Skull feet, I mean.
But anyways, so that's that. And gonna
And I got new things, and so we actually moved stuff. If my mom moves a little to that side,
oh, they can't see because of the light.
they can. We moved the bookshelf from here. We have a new play thing over there. So we changed the little. When we mostly talk around there. Make sure every day you check this channel. If you don't have a new thing, you can watch other stuff like if you're hungry, you can just watch our pizza, pancakes. We got all kinds of food
Yeah,
videos.
we make some good pancakes, don't we? He busted an egg on his head, by the way.
Yeah. Go
That
watch
was
that
funny.
video. Yeah,
He
go
ended-
watch that video.
He ended up getting egg whites all over his head just trying to break an egg.
Yeah. What was it? It was oh no, but it was a food video. So make sure you go check all those videos. If it's cracking eggs, that was it. And we did a slow mo so y'all can see what happened because it went crack really fast, faster than you can blink. So that's why we did slow mo so everybody can see it.
Yep. And like I said, you know, if you don't know me and this is the first time watching our video, I help take care of my nephews. So there's 5 of us in total. And so it can get a little bit hectic. And my mother-in-law is here as well. So it's kind of also hectic due to that. So I may not be able to upload as many videos like I normally do.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, I usually upload 1 or 2 every day, but it's been really hectic here recently. So, like I said, this is going to be just a different playlist just to kind of...
It's like September the 20th or something when we keep going. So, if you have a calendar, put a check mark right near it.
Yeah, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, somewhere like in the 20s, so put check marks around it
Yeah.
so you
this-
can remember.
Yeah, but this is part of, you know, important, you know, to Austin and I, and the other kids' lives as they grow up, is to teach them to follow the Bible and to always go to the Bible for all of their questions.
To me, it's more realistic to me because I got baptized.
Because
So-
he's recently gotten baptized. Okay.
Yeah. That was...
We did a lot of studying, didn't we? And we're trying to read the Bible in a whole year.
If you have a question, there is one I know that's in your mind. We did not post a video on that. So,
Post what?
a video on me being baptized, or did you?
Actually, I did. So you guys can actually go watch him getting baptized. Just go to the other playlist or go to my videos.
Okay, you want to hear something funny? Okay, so when I was getting baptized, I was getting dressed up. My mom prayed for me, and I went downstairs. I thought there was 1 step, and it ended up being 2, and I tripped. I almost fell.
Yeah, he almost fell down the steps. Blop, 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 blop. But anyways,
My
so
mom
this
had to joke where Robert comes. You would tell them that joke?
Nah, maybe later because this is getting almost 20 minutes long. So anyways, this is going to be something new. I have no idea if anybody will watch it. But this is just going to be a family study we're doing, and we're just kind of basically decided to let you guys listen into our thoughts, our discussions, and I guess we'll go from there.
Yeah, so remember, like, subscribe. That's it.
Alrighty. We'll talk to you hopefully soon, I hope.
3
Bye-bye.
days. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.